I've gone through the story at the top of the show, so people are aware of what Roy Moore is being accused of, and the amazing thing is that well, what's been amazing, I think, and is the level of disregard by Republicans. I mean, we've seen this, right? Well, we've seen this as recently as 2016 when the Republicans nominated a guy who was accused of sexual harassment and molesting, I think, by about 15 women in the closing days. So it's not that shocking. But what is shocking is sort of like the naked disregard. Yeah. Here is a clip.
And Daniel Dale for everybody.
Well, I've got that clip of Daniel Dale. Here is Daniel Dale. He's a reporter. I don't know who he writes for, but
Toronto Star.
He was from the Toronto Star, and it's always
great. I mean, he was one of the ones, by the way, during the election. I just want to say quickly, who was probably one of the best follows on Twitter and everywhere, because he being from Canada and a Canadian newspaper and a major one, didn't adhere to the bullshit both sides stuff. He just sort of told it like it was.
Well, it's also amazing, yes, because he's Canadian, I think there's still this sort of quality of what, are you serious? And here is Don Lemon interviewing Dale after Dale went down there, or I guess got on the phone. Maybe he went down there to talk about people anticipating, at least some rejection of Moore based on this information. And here he is.
You have been calling local Republicans in Alabama. What's the reaction tonight?
The reaction has been something to behold. I called these gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, because I thought that they might be interestingly certain that these allegations are false. But what I heard from them was that not only do they believe that the allegations are false, but they would continue, at least a couple of them, would continue to support Roy Moore even if the allegations were true. They explicitly told me that they would vote for a child molesting Republican over a Democrat. And so it's really something to hear, and I think it speaks to the level of partisanship on the Republican side of the ledger.
Daniel, pause it. And you made that point right there that he won't do the two sides do it. He makes a point because a lot of people say this is a sign of partisanship in the country. No, this is not a sign of partisanship in the country. This is a sign of partisanship / dementia in the Republican Party. And I'm glad he made that point. All right, let's continue.
Anyone willing to criticize Moore?
I have not. I had a couple people criticize him in passing in the course of telling me they still supported him. One man said, well, my grandma used to say, someone who does something like that should be, taken behind the house and given a good whooping, and then told me why he would still vote for Roy Moore over Doug Jones. So I didn't find anyone of the 8 people, county chairmen and county chairwomen, who would tell me that they would no longer support Roy Moore even if these allegations were proven true.
You said the county chairman and county chairwomen, the local politicians there, are still willing to support him. What are the reasons they're giving you?
Well, they're telling me that the Democratic Party is still worse. They're telling me that this was likely a Democratic setup, that Democrats planted the story to embarrass Roy Moore. This is the Democratic playbook. One of them told me, well, this wasn't forcible rape. He was just with an underage woman, underage girl. Really, something to behold. I had someone say, well, it was 40 years ago. He was 32. She was supposedly 14. That was the direct quote, supposedly 14. And she just said that they kissed, which is not, in fact, true. That's not just what she said. So really, in a number of ways, finding ways to justify to themselves why they could and should still support this man.
It's mind-boggling.
Don Lemon's mind has been boggled. I love the fact that he's like, they just kissed. The 32-year-old just kissed the 14-year-old. I mean...
Now, if that phrase, because it just did for me, struck a memory chord for any of you out there, forcible rape.
Right.
You may remember that it was Todd Aiken, who obviously had his legitimate rape comment. What you may not remember as well is that he teamed up with Paul Ryan and they actually tried to pass a bill redefining rape as forcible rape, because this would determine things around the abortion issue and where federal funds could be used and that kind of thing. So this is nothing new for the Republican Party.
Right.
He's, of course, taken it to a whole different level. But, this should be tied around Paul Ryan's neck, frankly, because the concept of, she consented, which is what Sean Hannity, by the way, said too. So if any of you out there have nothing better to do today, you might want to look up Sean Hannity's sponsors and give them a call and see if they're cool with the fact that Hannity was saying 14,
to be
16.
fair, he said that the 16-year-old consented and was able to give. That has been what the thing that he's so. That's what Sean Hannity has been flipping out about. I didn't say the 14-year-old did. I said the 16 and 17-year-olds did.
Okay. So I was under the impression that 18 was the law. I was also under the impression that if you're in your 30s, really anything under the age of about 23, 24 is pretty skeevy. But okay. Apparently in Sean Hannity's world, especially if it's a Republican he wants to be elected, 16 is an acceptable age for a guy who's in his 30s, which is what Moore was.
We should say that Sean Hannity apologized because he was not totally clear while defending Roy Moore over the sexual misconduct. He was simply defending him in regards to, here, pull it up. It says, scroll right there. What he was saying was that he was saying that, as I said on TV tonight, I apologize when I misspoke and I was not totally clear earlier. It's really sad when the lazy media in this country cuts and presses.
Oh.
His point was that the other teenagers, and let's be clear on what a teenager is. That is someone who is in their teenage years.
Somebody who has the word, the extension teen after the number.
Right.
As in 16, 17.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos